Awesome. Awesome. Well, you see Andy very, start already. Show his image, his slide first. He's so handsome, right? Wow, got the 武侠小说. But wait, let me introduce, before he share, I know he's very excited to share, let me introduce. So very well, good evening, a very warm, literally warm welcome to all of you. My name is Julia Chong and I'm your host for this evening. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evening with us. I was just sharing that it seems like I have not MC for a very long time, but actually I missed just one session. So it's great to be back to see all of you. Now, we were also just sharing that the weather is so hot, very, very hot. And Fahmi almost put his head into the freezer because it's so hot, right? Now, in the chat box, share with us, how do you cool yourself down? Now, I am in my room and blasting my aircon. So for you, how are you, cooling down? Let's share in the chat box. Let's encourage everybody to, cool down. Yes, how do you cool down? Aircon, see, yeah. Frederick is aircon, drink water. Yes, very, very, very important. You need to hydrate yourself. You need to drink water and don't drink too cold water, okay? Nick, yes, you're having your cool syrup drink. Anybody else have other ways to cool yourself down? Raymond's in front of a big fan. Awesome. Extra fan, yes. Fan and aircon some more, right? It's so hot. Thank you for sharing with us. Now, Andy, he is not a stranger to us. Okay, he has spoken before, and he has also MC before. But let us also give him a word of encouragement. After a long time, you don't speak in front of the, in Zoom, also need a little bit of encouragement. So in the chat box, please give him a word of encouragement or maybe words of encouragement. Let us show some love and support to him from the community, okay? So let us, in the chat box, let's give him some encouragement. Yes. Well done. Oh, a way to go. Let's type in some words of encouragement to him so get him excited. I know he has already a lot of energy, but let's give him a bit more energy. Come on, let's give him some love. Put in the chat box, give him a word of encouragement. Yeah, wow. Wow, a lot of the strong emoji. Yes, Andy is the sun, and then we are the moon and stars. Yes, you are all ready. All right. Okay, so before I introduce him, okay, please do remember to mute your mic so that you don't interrupt him when he share with us his expert topic. Put on your Zoom background. If you don't have, Fahmi has already shared on the chat box. In the chat box, Nick has also shared in the WhatsApp chat group. And also turn on your video if possible so that he can see us and then we can smile at him. And remember to share your takeaway on your social media. After this session, remember to tag Grow, tag our speaker, or you can tag our members as well. Now, tonight's speaker, he's a very familiar face. His name is Andy, if you have not known yet. If you have seen his posting on our WhatsApp chat or his social media, especially TikTok, you would roughly know what Andy does for a living. Andy, he's an author, he's a trainer, as well as a coach. So since 2001, Andy has used his 36 years of experience to run his own consultancy and training business. So he specializes in 3 topics: sinology, if I pronounce it correctly, sales and management, and besides this, Andy is also a certified health coach. And believe it or not, he is also a museum educator with the National Heritage Board. Plus, he's also a trainer with CCISG. Wow, Andy is a man of many talents. Okay, so we know him as a businessman, but do you also know that Andy is a loving husband with 3 grown-up children? Tonight, Andy will be sharing the art of war for professionals. So get ready, sit tight, have your drink beside you, and let's welcome a speaker. Over to you, Andy.
Thank you, Julia. Good evening, everyone. So tonight is talking about the art of war for professionals. So to begin with, I would like to introduce to everybody. Today, we are all using the way to spell the Chinese words is using Hanyu Pinyin. So this S-U-N is pronounced as Sun and not Sun. Because S is pronounced as Si, then U-N is Un, so Sun. And then Z-I is Zi. The reason why I want to use this is that if you go to China, especially Beijing today, they have stopped using English words. So there is no such thing called West or East. West is Xi and East is Dong. So if you do not know Hanyu Pinyin, basically you are as good as a blind man. It's just that if you go to France, they don't translate the road signs, right? They will use French word for west, and they won't use the English word, right? If you go to Japan, they also don't really translate, right? So China has decided no longer using English names. And the old name they like to use is, the first one is still correct, S-U-N, and then the second one is T-Z-U. So you call it Sun Tzu, right? Sun Tzu. So of course, some people will know Sun Tzu more, but I would prefer that we start to convert to this Han Pinyin name, because that is the system that China is using right now. Huh? So I will use all this Sun Tzu. Huh? So it's pronounced Sun Tzu, huh? And not San Tzu. Huh? So if you can pronounce Sun Tzu, you are actually one level higher, because most people, especially the Europeans, they cannot pronounce this word Sun. In fact, they cannot pronounce my surname. They cannot pronounce. Okay, yeah. So we are talking about the Art of War. So I have this so-called author, because I have this book 3 years ago, so-called Practical WeChat Marketing. And this second book is coming up. It's taking some time because I still find that there's something a bit difficult. I may have to come up part 1 and part 2. So because it's too much, about 18,000 words, right? So this is more or less the world's very few book in English about I Ching. So again, we call I Ching, we don't call I Ching, because I Ching is the old name, right? So it's the correct name today is I Ching. So talk about Art of War, I have been doing this topic since 2009, and over the years have been interviewed by the media quite many times. One of them is the Straits Times Money page in the year, I think somewhere, I don't know which year. Anyway, 2011 was the hot year because of Singapore 2 elections, general election and the presidential election, and many Art of War tactic strategies were used there, but then they normally don't publish my comments, because I talk about how the opposition able to have some winning strategies, and of course they silence all my all my comments about the opposition, right? But nevertheless, this year is going to have the president election, and it's already May right now. They have to announce a candidate this month or next month. It's actually a no choice situation, because Halimah Yacob already said she's not contesting, right? Anyway, this year we may see some contests. Will be quite interesting, and then the Art of War things will come up, right? This is a defunct newspaper, bilingual newspaper called My Paper. So I talk about the 5 elements. So today I hope that everyone can also remember the 5 elements, because many people told me they know the Art of War. Then I asked them, do you know there's such a thing called 5 elements? And they cannot pronounce to me the name. You need to pronounce in the Hanyu Pinyin. You do not use English, because that means, I mean, you use the Chinese Pinyin names, that means you're a little bit one step higher, right? Just I talk about French topic, I use French, right? I use Spanish I use Latin for the law terms, right? I don't use English, right? It's the same logic. Huh? So many people may not know the Art of War has been used by many people. And one of them is Google, the 2 founders of Google. They were actually one of the subcontractors for Yahoo back in the 90s, when Yahoo was the dominant search engine provider. And Yahoo business is more towards the portal advertisement. They're not really interested in search engine. For them, the search engine is just to get business, people to visit the portal. So the 2 Google founders, they were subcontractors, and they proposed to Yahoo to, why not you stop the other contractors and appoint us as a subcontractor, because we would protect your interests. And Yahoo said, what will you do? And Google said, we will only have the search engine with Google, G-O-O-G-L-U, that's all. There are no other things. No portal, no news, no advertisement, nothing. And Google felt that this is very good, because Google felt that this is a non-threatening proposal. You are not taking away my portal business, right? You are only doing search, and then to them, search is losing money. You don't make money from search, right? So they appoint only Google as the only search engine provider. And so Google claimed that they are the world's #1 search engine in the year 2000. And until today, Google is still very simple, just Google and nothing else, right? You go search engine, right? This is called using a dagger. You hide your smile behind a dagger, as written by this person. I don't know, this person might be from America. Anyway, it's not Chinese. So this person using one of the tactics in the 36 stratagems. It's not the Art of War, but it's closely related to the Art of War. Art of War say that you must know how to use tactics. So he's using one tactic out of 36 tactics called hide a dagger behind your smile. That means as a professional, as a trainer or whatever, when we propose something to someone, we must make it is non-threatening, it's not going to harm you. That's why we hide. But actually, we are going to do something, but we disguise it as a smile, so everybody is happy, right? So in that sense, so the whole thing is all based on I Ching. I Ching has been around more than 7,000 years, long before written language was invented in China. China has about 3,700 years of written language. So before that, there were no written language. They only have drawings. And so when people talk about the beginning of Chinese culture, it is actually this, I Ching. So I Ching is very long ago, and I Ching is also the basis for everything from China. We call it sinology. Sino means from China, right? Whether it's medicine, feng shui, design, literature, and even you look at some China brand products like Oppo and Vivo and Huawei, not Xiaomi, where Xiaomi very westernized. So you look at these products and you look at Douyin, you look at TikTok, you realize that they have the I Ching concepts inside there. So the Art of War, of course, is from I Ching, right? It's also taken from another book by Lao Tzu called the Tao Te Ching, because this is the old translation, Lao Tzu, right? Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. So to give you a background, and Sun Tzu actually attributed that his things are from the I Ching. Everybody say that. So when we talk about why people are not achieving much, so we need to consult the Art of War. And the first chapter is this, very important. These are the Chinese words. So in English, it roughly means this is chapter 1. There are total 13 chapters, about 5,000 plus words. So the first sentence says that the war, military matters are very important for a nation, for a state. It is the way for you to survive, for you to grow. And it is a matter of life and death. So the last few words says that you don't study it. In Japan, if you want to be a manager in any big companies, you need to know the Art of War. And the layman in China, whether this person could be just a rubbish collector, could be a road sweeper, he is able to utter the Art of War from his mouth just like that. So now we know China is opening up and the yuan is being internationalized and replacing the US dollar in many international trades. And China has dared to adopt no English for its signboards and going to use Hanyu Pinyin, right? So no more such thing called East or West. So it's East is Dong, West is Xi. So if you don't know what is Dong and Xi, then basically you don't know what, you become like a blind man, right? So we need to know the Art of War, because if you don't know, then you basically die. According to what he said, you actually die. You may not even be able to survive. So if you talk about the Art of War, many people like to go into the details. But as with everything, the chapter 1 is the most important, because the author puts more or less everything inside chapter 1. You can say chapter 1 is like a summary of the entire book. If you read the entire book, right, you will actually know what I'm talking about. So this is the very quoted history channel about the story about the
King Helü, ruler of the Chinese state of Wu, agonizes over a growing threat. A hostile neighbor is poised to invade. Desperate to defend his kingdom, Helü summons one of the greatest military minds in history, Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu is important because he has a cohesive, holistic philosophy of how to approach strategy. If you listen to Sun Tzu, if you follow his principles, you will be victorious. If you ignore him, you do so at your own peril, because you will definitely lose.
This is written in chapter 1, that if you read my book, if you do not follow, then basically you will definitely lose. He actually said that very clearly. So who is he? His actual name is Sun Wu. So we call Zi means teacher. So for example, my surname in Chinese, in Mandarin, is Wu, W-U, right? Ng is the Hakka translation because in Singapore, they go by dialects, right? Ang Mo Kio, right? In Mandarin, it should be Hong Mao Qiao, right? And they converted Ni Sun to Yi Sun, but today Ni Sun means a different place from Yi Sun. So that caused a lot of confusions. But anyway, you can address me as Wu Zi because Zi means teacher, right? So I can also address Julia as Julius is what? Zhang Zi, is it? I don't know. So that's how we address people, right? So he lived 2,500 years ago, and his country is in this place called the Qi. He was from Qi. So understand that China in the past is just like Europe today. Europe has 42 countries, right? EU has 26 countries. And each country speaks a different language. Only 3 countries speaks English, right, in Europe. Anyway, in the past, China was divided into many, many countries, and each country speaks a different language, different writing system, everything different government system. It's just like what you see in Europe today. There's nothing common among them, right? So he's from this state of Qi, which today is Shandong province, and he has to run away because of the political fighting. And so he went over to Wu. You can see this is Shanghai today. So Wu is the eastern side and is considered the south. South of China means anything below the Yangtze River, right? So this is the Yangtze River. Anything towards the south below is called the south. But many Singaporeans cannot understand how come the south is so cold, right? The south is still very cold because it's still quite high in latitude. It's the same latitude as New York, actually. Anyway, so he went over to Wu because the Wu king was very ambitious. The Wu king was harassed by this large nation called Chu, right? Chu. And he decided that he must need a strategy, a good strategy, so that he would not be harassed, right? So he decided to consult Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu actually stayed in Wu state for a while, maybe 2-3 years. And he, through someone referrer, the person referred him is Wu Zixi. So he went to see the king. And he told the king that I have my family, my ancestors, my grandfather, they are all strategist warriors. I have studied the I Ching, I studied so many military classics, so I compiled my book. It's called The Art of War, Sun Tzu Bing Fa. And the king just asked him one question: have you fought a war before? Sun Tzu was 27 years old at that time. He said, no. He told the king, you can test me. If I pass the test, then you appoint me as your military advisor. So you have no loss. The king said, very good idea, right? So the king said that I read your book and you said that you claim that you can train anybody into a warrior. And the king said, I want to give you a more difficult task. Can you train the women in my palace, the concubines, the maids, the old women, the people that have never went to the battlefield before, never carried weapon before? Can you train them into winning warriors? Sun Tzu said, of course can. So he started his training, and then the women dressed up, and then he appointed the 2 concubines of the king as the platoon commanders, total 180 of them. So he started his training, and he realized that the girls were not following him. So he told the girls that if you do not follow my instruction, it is not your fault, it is the leader's fault. This is leadership principle number 1. If you give instruction and people don't follow, it is never their fault, it is your fault, because you have never told them the consequences of not following instructions. This is important in my training daily for the kids, the P4, P2 kids, right? So when I tell them the rule, don't run, I tell them why you don't run, right? Because that day one boy fell down near the toilet, he hurt his stomach. I say, you want to run, then there's a high chance you could be like that boy, crying, sitting down there. So that's why nobody run, right? You know, children, they love to run. They don't know how to walk, in case you don't know. Adults want to run also cannot, right? Too old already, right? So after that, he continued his training, and the girls still don't do. And Sun Tzu said that I need to, this is a real thing. This is not a fake thing. So I need to follow the military rule, and that is execution, because the 2 platoon commanders got to take responsibility. So he has to execute the 2 platoon commanders, which were the king's concubines. The king saw this and said, these are my favorite concubines. He has no queen, right? And said, you cannot execute them. Then Sun Tzu told him, sorry, you have no more authority over me. Because the king appointed Sun Tzu to train the people, so he carries all the authority. And he told the king, you cannot stop me from doing anything. If you dislike what I do, you can execute me later on. The king was very shocked. And the king said that, okay, I now decide to hire you as my military advisor. So please don't execute the concubines. And Sun Tzu said, are you serious or are you joking? Huh? If you want to serious, you should execute your concubines, because this news will shock the whole of China and everybody will be afraid of you. The king decided to do that. And after that, for the next 10 years, Sun Tzu launched one war against Tzu and managed to subdue Tzu. No, Tzu is how many times bigger than Wu, and also not just the physical size, but also other things as well. Right? So in case you don't know where's the state of Tzu, we all know COVID and we all know Wuhan, right? COVID started from Wuhan. So Wuhan is here, right? So it's the state of Tzu. Huh? So anyway, Sun Tzu was helping them for the next 10 years. And after that, there were some changes, so he decided to leave the king. So because he can change the world, right? So military strategies in the past can change the world. Today, whoever wants to make big money, they have to change the world. If you only do this, do that, basically it's not going to make big money, right? Also, he has a big platform. His big platform is the king, King He Lu. It's actually He Lu, sorry, not Lu. Because the Westerners, they don't know how to pronounce Chinese Hanyu Pinyin. It's actually spelled as LV, but usually they spell as LU, but this U is pronounced as Lu, so He Lu. Huh? HE is pronounced as He because He, right? It's not pronounced He Lu. Yeah? So the question to ask ourselves is, if you want to excel, you need to be in a strong and big platform, and your platform needs to be growing, right? So growing, this is our grow, 4 letters grow. So if people want to join us because they want to grow, right? If you just want to join a network and don't want to grow, then no need to join grow. So when we talk about why people somehow not making it there, one of the things will be this thing called setting and achieving goals, right? So to me, if you don't set goals, it is okay. If you set goals and don't achieve your goals, it is still okay. But if you set goals and the goals are wrong and you achieve the wrong goals, then it is suicidal. The worst thing to happen is set the wrong goals. And many people tell me, how can I set the wrong goals? Then I ask them, show me your goals, right? And they tell me the first goal, I have this profit or sales goals, right? And I told them this is a wrong goal, right? And secondly, they say, I want to beat my competitor. I say this is even more wrong. And the third thing, they told me, I want to be the #1 in my industry. I say this is ridiculous. If you set these goals and you achieve the goals, your company is going to die. And he was shocked. How can this happen? I say this is explained clearly in the Art of War, because people don't read and people don't understand. That's why they don't know such basic concepts, right? So the Art of War says that you must have a proper plan, and proper plan means you must have the 5 elements and the 7 considerations. Today I will cover the 5 elements. This one a little bit too long, I won't cover, right? So what are the 5 elements? These 5 elements are in Chinese, right? You can read because there is the pinyin word here, right? 道天地将法. So I want you all to read after me these 5 words. 道天地将法. Because this is very important. Say after me. 道天地将法.
道天地将法.
Okay, especially if you're not a Chinese, you can say this, right? People will be very impressed. I can tell you the Chinese cannot say these 5 words. They always say, I know the Art of War. Then I say, can you tell me what are the 5 elements? They cannot say anything. Then I very bluntly told them, actually, you know nothing. Okay, to me, I am a serious person. If you say you know something, you must know the very, very basic fundamental. Example, Hari Raya Puasa, 10 out of 10 Singaporeans, I mean the non-Muslims, right, don't know what is Hari Raya Puasa. And they claim, I know. I think they know nuts, right? I ask them one simple question and they don't know how to answer me. And that's so fundamental. I'm just giving you an example, right? I ask you what is Deepavali and they tell me, and then what they told me, I know they don't know anything about Deepavali, right? So Tao is the first one. Tao is called purpose. I translate purpose here because this is in relation to what we are talking about here. As for Tian, is actually climate. Some people will translate this as sky. But to me, that is quite useless translation. The Chinese use the word tian very, very frequently. Example, the English man will say, oh my God, right? The Chinese will say, 我的天, that means, oh my sky. Huh? But of course, the tian does not refer to sky, right? The tian refers to the universe. Huh? The next thing is the di. Huh? This is again is all from I Ching. I Ching has the qian and the kun. This is tian, this is di. Okay, di is actually the ground, but here I will translate as support will be better. Jiang is simply translated as leadership and not leaders, because leadership is more than leaders. And fa is simply methods. I have seen many Sun Tzu Art of War gurus, and they translate the fa as legality, and that is totally wrong. So I dare to say they know nothing about the art of war, because they can't even understand the meaning of this word fa. They look at a narrow meaning, and that is the law, fa li. You can't do that, right? Chinese one word has many meanings, but I need to know the most important meaning in the art of war context. So I would say this translation that you see right now is not commonly found if you go and do your own study or Google. Most of them will translate not my way. But I'm very confident that my way is more accurate, but of course there's no 100%. Anyway, this is the why, when, where, who, how, and what. Simon Sinek always say that start with why, right? Correct? People, I think somebody posted in the cashier room, I need to look for someone to do marketing on TikTok, I don't know what. Right? The person is asking the last one, far, how and what to do, right? That is totally wrong. You must start with why. Why you want to do marketing? Why you want to take TikTok, right? Until you answer my question, you cannot go to how and what. Unfortunately, everybody likes to go to how and what, right? What to do? What to do? Why you do something? Answer me first, right? Don't even do, oh, I do because people do, I do. That's stupid, right? So again, they don't know the art of war. They all go to number 5. And this sequence, you cannot play a fool. The first one, the Tao, you have to be number 1. And the number 2 has to be this. Number 3, this sequence is, you cannot change because this is inside the book. This is not my sequence. So to understand easy is why. Let's start with why, right? So the Tao is always the purpose. What is the purpose? You need to have a strong why, right? What's a vision? And this why must be good for others, not just good for yourself, right? Many people ask them something is always good for themselves, right? It's not good for the other people. I think in Singapore, we are too used to this. Why must you return plates at the hawker center? Oh, because if you don't, you get fined. That's a stupid reason, right? So when I train the maids, the domestic maids, how to survive in Singapore, the first rule I teach them, you go hawker center, you must return the plates because you get fined. How much? I say not much, 100 Singapore dollars. The Filipino maid, the Indonesian maid, I don't even earn that in 1 month. So you better return. I have to frighten them because I don't know, somebody may sabotage them, right? Some people just don't like all these maids, right? Anyway, so let me use TikTok, the company, as a case study. What is TikTok's purpose? Purpose is also the mission, right? And it's written there that their mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy. Their mission is not to have how much subscribers or followers or creators or whatever, but to inspire creativity and bring joy. And then they want people to be themselves. So TikTok wants people to be themselves, not to be someone else. So this is something that is not commonly heard in the world, right? We were often told we need to be someone else, correct? Correct, People who teach public speaking always say, you must talk in my way. This is the way. To me, that's stupid, right? Public speaking is not to talk in a forceful, commanding way, stage presence. Those are nothing, those are not important. Any idiot can do that. Public speaking is only one and only thing. Are you able to connect with the audience? That's all. And the way to connect is to be yourself. If you are stuttering, you cannot pronounce proper English, so be it. Right? Cynthia Chai, right? This lady that is very famous right now for a voice coach. She came to Singapore in 2000 something, and she can't even pronounce proper English because she's from China, and she cannot pronounce properly. And she go around giving lessons on voice and telling people, I'm here to teach you how to speak not to pronounce. And everybody listened to her. And she told everyone, my pronunciation could be China, but my power speech is international. And she's very famous today, right? That's a good example of being yourself. So stop trying to be someone else, right? If you are like this, just be like this. People hate you, so be it, right? Because your style is the one that can bring you forever, right? So the important is alignment. If you don't follow my plan, Sun Tzu said that you will lose, and then I will leave you to. It's written in the book. Huh? Okay, the next one is the Tian. Tian means climate. So you need to have competition is also climate, correct? We often talk about competitive climate, right? So Sun Tzu actually said that we should not go against the climate. So if you are like Facebook, Facebook always want to identify, Facebook said that TikTok is the biggest threat. So the goal is to suppress TikTok. So they went through the US Congress and whatever. And this is stupid because your biggest competitor is not anyone but yourself. How can you go against yourself? That's stupid, right? So never go against your competitors because they are not your competitors. Huh? You yourself is the biggest competitor. How can you go against yourself? That's stupid, right? This is, again, they do not understand the art of war. That's why Facebook has this concept. I need to suppress, I need to cram down TikTok. And until today, they still cannot cram, right? So they're still not able to make it, right? So the third one is the T. So T is actually the support. Huh? So Sun Tzu advocates us to be very realistic and not try to be optimistic or pessimistic. Huh? So you need to get the support. And if you write the word quan, which means all, the human, this is human. These two strokes means human. Above the below is actually the king. So the people are above the king. So the king serves the people. Just like in Singapore, right? Many people, if I were to ask them who holds the highest office in Singapore, they'll tell me the president or prime minister. Right? The highest office is the voters because the voters voted the government. The voters voted for the president, right? The people are on top of anything. So that is the basic concept that many people cannot understand. So in the business, your only customer is the employees and not the final customers because your employees will serve the customers, right? So if you serve the customers, who is going to serve your employees, right? So this is actually one of the very prominent businessmen said that I'm smart. I don't bother about serving so many customers. I just bother about serving my 10 employees because they're serving hundreds of customers every day. He's doing a food business, right? So Lee Kuan Yew also said that before, you need to be realistic, and you cannot be pessimistic or optimistic. Lee Kuan Yew said that before in the book Hard Truths, made into a movie or so, right? So the next thing is the Jiang or leadership, and he specifically said that you need to have 5 attributes of any leaders. So if you are a leader and if you do not have the 5 attributes, then according to the Art of War, then you basically, you actually don't pass as a leader. First thing is wisdom. Wisdom means you know how to apply knowledge correctly. It's not how much you know, right? And secondly is faith is very important, right? The trust is very important. And you need to build trust, and you trust people and people will trust you. And third one is the benevolence, followed by courage. And the last one is strictness, right? Strictness is actually high standards on yourself, right? Then on others. Courage is not to fight the war. Courage is there to do the hard things. So benevolence is also important. It's put here as number 3. Right? So how to build trust is important. Now we need to focus on building trust. As what said by the CEO of TikTok, right? When he was asked a question, what is your competitive strategy?
So today, as you look forward to what you're going to be doing over the next year or so, what are you most focused on?
I'm most focused on trust building. We are a young company, and I think trust is something that we have to earn through actions. For example, through our continued investment in safety. So that is a big focus for me, that we are focused on not only growing our business, but earning trust with the right stakeholders around the world along the way.
So we seldom heard about this thing. People often talk about expansion and all those things, but they seldom talk about building trust, continue building trust. So the last one is method. So method is basically, I mean, this is a very basic method of a flow chart. I'm sure we're all very familiar, right? So soon they said that whether you're running a big or small, it's the same. At the end, the methods are similar, right? You just need to follow the principles, right? I need to have a strategy. I need to have a tactics, right? A strategy is a broader way of doing things. The tactic is the how to, right? How to do things. So if you want to win, you need to have the strategy. So it says here, if you have the strategy, but you do not have the tactics, then it is a slow route to winning. However, if you have the tactics and you don't have the strategy, it's the noise before defeat. That means you will lose. And before you lose, you make a lot of noise, right? When people say, I want to do Facebook marketing and whatever marketing, that is called tactics. That's not a strategy, right? When people say, I want to reduce price, I want to do this, that's against a tactic. It's not a strategy. And you are going to lose. Before you lose, you make a hoo-ha. You became very famous, right? So we don't want to do that. So when you look at the case studies of why banks fail and whatever it is, actually the answer is found here, right? It's actually found here. Why the Silicon Valley Bank and the other banks, why they fail, is basically they don't know the difference between strategy and tactic. So the strategy, so now I go back to the goals. So I said these are the wrong goal set. Then people will ask, what are the right goals, right? So instead of achieving sales goals or profit goals, we should be achieving customers' goals. So when Alibaba, what is example of a strategy? For example, a strategy is to go green. It's a strategy. Sustainability is a strategy. Then use recycled paper is just a tactic. For example, my strategy is to serve the lower needs, the certain segment of the market. So my tactic is to reduce price. Anyway, tactic is detail, so simple, right? Anything detail is tactics. Most of the time, people talk about tactics instead of strategy. So achieve customers' goals. That's how Alibaba succeeded, right? Alibaba setup is just to help people to clear the excess stock because of the financial crisis in 2008. So they got a lot of stocks they cannot clear. And then he told them, what if I put your things on the internet and then I charge you 3% commission? They say, you charge me 300%, I'll also be happy because I just start with all this stock. So he's just achieving customer goals, not Alibaba goals. And secondly, don't beat the competition. Look at what are the unmet needs and serve them. So simple, right? And thirdly, is not to be number one. Be number one in your mission, good enough, right? So TikTok's mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy. And they, have been focusing on this so much, right? Inspire creativity. And if you post in TikTok, you are already a creator. You are not an influencer. You are not YouTuber or on YouTube. You are not even a TikToker. You are called a creator. So from here, you see TikTok is very focused on creativity, right? Creativity. And that is actually in line with the Art of War, right? So these are the 13 chapters. So I won't go into details. And just to clear some misconceptions, because I find this quite disturbing when people don't know, they claim they know. So the first one, they always think the Art of War is something very, very smart, very advanced, very aggressive. It's nothing, it's harmony. That's all, right? And they didn't win. Understand that winning is expensive. War is expensive, but if you win the war, it's an expensive win. Actually, when you win the war, you could be losing. You could be losing when you win the war, right? You will lose more, right? I think all the married men in the Zoom will know what I'm talking about, right? I think Julia would know, right? When the wife quarrel with you, the man, if you win the argument, right? You are losing a lot, right? Correct, I think to Julia, the cannot argue one,
No, cannot.
So when the man does not argue, he's knowing the art of war. He knows winning is expensive. So no need to advance warfare, advance mindfare. It's about using the mind, right? Using the psychology. minimum weapons and minimum man. The best is no man, right? Don't use deadly tools. Tools that have the least damage. Don't destroy enemy. Destroying enemy is the most stupid thing to ever do. Subdue the enemy good enough. See, Western medicine like to destroy enemy. You got cancer, I use chemo to kill the cancer. That's stupid, right? When you kill the cancer, you're also killing the good cells, right? When you use insect spray and spray the room, you're also killing yourself, right? What you want to do is subdue the enemy. Don't use spray the insect. Paste the lemongrass sticker on your shirt. The mosquito dislike lemongrass smell and they will not come here. They will go away. You already subdue the enemy, right? You make the mosquito your friend. He's outside, but he won't come here because you have the mosquito lemongrass sticker on your shirt, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? You know, right? And moral is important. Sun Tzu talks about war is actually for peace. You have a war is because you want peace. So you do not fight. When you fight, it's because you want peace. The purpose of war is peace. Not the purpose of war is to dominate or conquer another country. That is never the purpose. So you don't cheat people. You use deception, but this deception is altering of perception. It is not deceiving people. An example would be the doctor telling the ailing patient that you are actually doing well with the medication. So psychologically, the patient feels better and he has more confidence. So somehow he seems to be recovering, right? You know the doctor is lying, right? But is the doctor deceiving the patient? No, the doctor is very moral. Moral is important, right? The doctor wants to help the patient. That's why he's saying such things, right? So many people cannot understand this. Chinese never speak the truth. Chinese always answer maybe. If you ask the Chinese a question, yes or no, he cannot answer yes or no. Because yes or no answer is the wrong answer. The correct answer depends on the situation. That's correct, right? But you know, a lot of people like to know the exact answer, right? So I give them the answer. I tell them this is the answer. Okay, they copy down. But only got 80% accuracy. Actually, the word is 80% only. I got 100%. I mean, now you think it's 100%. I mean, until today, you think there's such a thing called 100%. Have you been living or you have been deceived all this long and you're not young, you're 60, 70 years old, right? You still think there's 100%. Everything this was 80-20 rule, right? It's written in the I Ching, 80 only. So 80 can be 90, can be 70, can be 65, can be 14, can be 51, right? But if you think that is 100%, everything is only 99.999%, right? Example, the Singapore insurance in your deposit in each bank, they say 75,000 they insure you, right? That is again is 80% of the time. If the bank has fraud, the government will not honor the insurance. Let me tell you this. It's written in one of the clauses. A lot of people don't read all these things. They listen to them, oh, they believe. They say GST increased by 1%, right? That's again is a lie, right? From 7 to 8 is 14%, my God. You fail your mathematics. This you learn in primary 3, right? You learn this percentage in primary 3, right? So looks like everybody, they don't know what they're talking about. And the people listening also don't know what they're listening also, right? They're all listening to fake news, wrong truth. That's why Donald Trump, the media is all fake news. That's correct, right? Every day is all untrue being told. And people don't even know, they just receive it happily. Oh, GST 1%. It's 14%, my friend. Okay, so the important concept is you should not fight to win, right? Because the battle is actually won before you fight. Victorious warriors will win first, then go to war, while defeated warriors will go to war first and try to win. So that is again stupid, right? So win without fighting is a concept, right? Win without conflict. Getting what you want without too much trouble. That answers why China has not attacked Taiwan until today, right? They want to attack China easy. They want to attack Taiwan easy, right? Because the highest strategy is to win without fighting, right? What for you bomb Taiwan and later you took over a bomb island, right? That's stupid, right? What you want is the business. Actually, Taiwan is already united with China already, right? Culturally and economically is already united. It's only the politics. But politics, no issue. Every 8 years, they will change the government. Okay, so you win before the fight. You don't win I mean, you don't fight to win. That's the important thing. So the other thing is you don't tell people what to do. You let people tell you what they want to do. That's win without fighting, right? Don't become the cause and effect. You cause the effect. Right? These are all applications of win without fighting. Right? Win without fighting. These are all applications. Right? So Professor Wee Cho Hao, this sounds like the UB chairman, Wee Cho Yao. But anyway, it's not the same person. He wrote the book on the Art of War, and he's actually one of my teachers. He's very old today. And this must be one of his last public seminar before the COVID. So he actually said this, right? It's not to want to win. You must make sure you're not losing first, right? That's why people come and ask you, hey, which share should I buy? Buy this share can make money or not? I said, first thing you ask yourself whether it's not to lose money when you buy this share, right? Second thing, they talk about winning money, right? Don't talk about making money first, talk about not losing money, right? Oh, now Bitcoin drop a lot, can buy or not, So are you sure that you will not lose money? That's my question first, right? If you're not sure, then don't go in. So using the Art of War, we become wiser and not so rash, not so rash. So he said proactive defense. Understand that if you are attacking people, you are actually defending. And when you're defending, it's actually attack. I'm sure the married men would know what I'm talking about, right? If the wives point out some of your faults and you keep on defending, actually, the more you defend, the more you're attacking, right? Correct, So for the wife, people like Julia seems to be picking on the man. Actually, that is defense. That's not attack. So the best is to win without fighting. So avoid fights as much as you can. But if no choice, if you got to fight, then to fight all the way, because failure is not an option. So China has already said that if Taiwan were to provoke, then they will go all the way to destroy this island of 23 million. 23 million is nothing, right? One city is already 30 million. The number 1 tier, number 2 tier cities in China. One city already 30 million. What's 23 million? No big deal, right? So let me now show you this some of the key points in this very new video that very few people know. Okay, the story is that this modern man went back to the time machine and went back 2,500 years ago and met Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu was hiding because he no longer working for the Wu. And yeah, but this guy knows because he's from the modern times, right?
将军祖上本为田氏，后来因为立了战功，被齐国国君赐姓孙，宁名孙武，作兵法13篇，后世称为《孙子兵法》，被奉为典籍。
我在此地无人知道我是谁，你竟对我了如指掌。哼！你说你来自后世，啊
2500年后。
2500年后，2500年后啊！吴国、越国、楚国、齐国，如此甚好啊！
您说
So
的
what are the key concepts?
读到些什么
What
呢
have？you read about the book?
兵者，国之大事，死生之地，存亡之道，不可不察也。
作何解啊？
军事是一个国家的大事，事关一个国家的生死存亡，不能不仔细研究啊。
所以啊，国家要备战，要重战。还有呢？
百战百胜，非善之善者也；不战而屈人之兵，善之善者。
战争是获取和平的手段，而不是目的。你还读到哪些？
上兵伐谋，其次伐交，其次伐兵，其下攻城。
Okay, these are some of the points. I will not go into details. Anyway, you can actually go to YouTube and watch this. Some of the quotes will be these, right? You need to know yourself and know the enemy. And then if you're strong, appear weak, weak appear strong, and that kind of things, right? And yeah, you need to become your enemy if you want to really know your enemy, right? So the best victory is one that requires no better. So yeah, so weakness comes from strength. When you're strong, actually you're weak. This is according to I Ching principles also, right? So he also said that this Zheng Siqiang, professor, he already passed away.
打仗其实
So Art of War is very
原理是
simple.
非
Just
常简
remember
单
one principle.
一部《孙子兵法》，大家讲的一大堆道理，其实就一个字而已，就是水。你看，我们受老子影响很严重，上上落水。上上落水的意思是说，你要修道吗？你要向水学习。
Need to learn from water, right?
打仗
Art
其
of
实
War is basically the water and nothing else. Huh? Okay, more or less I've finished my presentation already. So I have so-called these 3 upcoming courses. 2 are with CCISG. CCISG has about 150 trainers inside there. Huh? And then they are all done in hotels. So I have this month, I have 2. One is service and the other one is leadership with the Art of War. And this is the fee, is always about 500 plus before GST. And then my own, I actually don't charge so much because I don't do in hotel. So it's actually 29th and then it's only 149 or 99. And this is done at the training center, People's Park Center. So there is no conflict because mine is only half a day, right? And then this is 1 day and they don't want to do half day and that's all, right? So it's up to them. And they want to do in hotel, I don't do in hotel, right? So I am not doing the same thing as my so-called my agent, so-called as my agent. So this is the thing, and then this is the flyer, and then I also have the teaching course that is actually this Saturday, 13th of May in the morning. So I want to give a good offer to the Grow people. I mean, if you are a Grow member and you have the associate Grow, also you can get this offer. So anyway, later I'll also post this. Very simple, basically. It's only my course. I cannot do for the CCISG because it's not my course. It's this company controlling it. So for this Art of War for sales, and then will be $49. So it's a big discount. I think it's 67% discount. As for the eating leadership, it is on Zoom and it's also $49. So if you're interested, you have to register with me directly. If you go to the website, basically it's the published fees here, right? But the website, you can see all the details, and this is the QR code and the kind of things. So if you take a picture, you can actually go inside and then you can see. So I think, yeah, that's all. So that's all my presentation. So now I'm open to questions. Right?
Yeah, thank you, Andy, for the sharing. So before the Q&A, can we take a picture first? So turn on your video. Yes, turn it on. Nick,
Yep.
over to
I'm
you.
ready. All right, everyone. I'm going to, waiting for, yes, Raymond's up. Muhammad Noor is up. Okay, Ernest, are you up? Okay, I'm going to count. Okay, 5, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you, everyone.
One more.
Okay, no, one more time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Everybody have a good time. Smile. Okay, all right.
Well done. Thank you, Nick. Okay, so I know there's one question from Ines. Ines, I think she was asking for an example of strategy, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Okay, strategy is something more longer term. Because most people, when they are talking about tactics and they say that's a strategy. And then when they cannot explain it, they say what strategic reason, that's a whole lot of rubbish. Right? That's why until today, we don't know what is a strategy. A common sense is that a strategy is something a bit longer term and bigger. So if you're talking about something big, that must be a strategy. But if you're talking something about how to do something, that must be a tactic. So this is the best way to understand, and not to define. Actually, you can come up with your own examples, right? If I have to give you some hard rules, I'm not teaching you. I'm actually fixing you, right? The purpose of a trainer is to inspire creativity and bring joy, right? I need to inspire you to know and not just to teach you ABC, just follow this, right? And I'm the guru, don't follow, you will die. I still don't follow the principle, you will die. But the exact things, how to apply, you use your own judgment, right? So basically, anything small is actually a tactic. And what the politicians talking about is all tactics. What GST increase to what it's just a tactic. It's not strategy. It's never a strategy to increase GST, right? How can that be, right?
Yeah, okay. Any questions? You all can type it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and then introduce yourself and then ask Andy a question. Any question tonight?
You can just speak to be faster lah. I mean, if speaking is faster than typing.
Yeah, definitely. Any question? Going once? Not.
If you have no question, I will ask you one question.
Yo.
See whether do you
Scared.
understand the art of war. Because there are many so-called gurus that teach art of war. I've listened to them and I realized there's one issue they have. They are all English educated and speak everything in English. I read in Chinese. I explain to you in English. So it's different. Why they don't read in Chinese? Because they can't read Chinese, right? Because the Chinese standard is not there. So including this professor, I don't want to name his name. Chinese is very lousy, but he wrote many books on the art of war and he claimed to be a lecturer, don't know what. But he cannot understand simple, not so simple Chinese words, right? So basically, his understanding is partial. You need to read the Chinese text because Chinese words are very complicated. Right? So, what is Tao? My question is, what is Tao? As I said, Tao, 天地降法, right? The first one is Tao. Can you explain to me what is Tao?
Inner state integrity. Anybody want to try?
That is not exactly. Tao is something bigger. Integrity is small thing, right? Actually, to the Chinese, integrity is never an issue, because there's no such thing called honest or not honest. If you are totally honest, basically you will die. We often talk about integrity, and then, but more importantly is the Tao. The Tao is that, do you dare to face what you are talking about? That's the Tao. So integrity, something, if you lie, doesn't mean don't have integrity, doesn't mean they're right. My purpose of lying is to help people, right? So we are not fixated by these type of rules, because from the Western concept, this is very important. Integrity is very important. So the Chinese, that's not important. The important is your Tao. Do you put other people's interests above your interest? That could be integrity, I hope I've answered the question. So I realize most people, I mean, they think they know what is integrity, but actually, if I ask them further, actually, I don't think they know. So many professionals actually have no integrity. Because what they do is only good for them, not good for you.
Yep. Dr. Miriam, you want to ask a question?
Dr. Miriam?
No. Any question? Last one? Last question for Andy before we...
Tao is actually a way of life. Sorry, I want to clarify. Tao is a way of life because the word Tao simply means way. Right? For example, Tao is also a road, right? We also call Tao, Shen Way, San Tun Tao, right? So Tao is a way of life, and we are talking about, do you dare to face the way? If you say this is good, do you dare to face it? That means you have the Tao. If you say this is good, but you dare not face it, then you have no Tao. You could be honest, you be having integrity. I mean, you could be honestly wrong, right? Politically correct, honestly wrong.
Okay. Any last question? Fahmi, you have a question?
Good.
No? Good? Oh, good. Okay, great. So thank you, Andy, for your sharing. If you want to know more about his course, all this, I think Andy will also share the course to our member in the chat group. So if you want, grab it because he has given you a very generous offer. You can also connect with him through his social media or through our WhatsApp chat group. And remember to share your takeaway on our social media. So next week, there's no session, but next week is Growth 1 year anniversary and Eid celebration. So I'm sure most of you are going to be there. So remember to go there early so that you can start to network and do enjoy yourself. So before we end off, let me pass this time to Fahmi for further announcements.
All right. We just have this a goal of hitting 700 members during dinner time. We want to really look good that night, in front of guests of honor, but also for our own personal achievement for all of us in Grow. Then we'll just have the other 300 to to get for the rest of the year. So I hope members will take a moment to cast your net, and try to get help the club get another 13. We still have 2 days more to go. I have a few pending and all that. I think we can reach 700, but I want it to be like a total members effort. All right, so everybody put in your effort for this target of 700. That's all. Back to you, Julia.
Thank you, Fahmi. Okay, last but not least, do remember, if you have not done so, register your profile on Growth's website. So if you have any issue or challenge, do look for Tricia. So that's all from all of us here. My name is Julia, and I want to thank all of you for being such a wonderful audience. So good night and take care of yourself. Bye.
What's wonderful is Julia being the host. That's wonderful. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Julia.
you so much. No problem. Thank you. My pleasure.